otherwise, keep them on. That's really good practice. And a little social distancing is good. 6 feet away, that would be super duper. We're just so grateful that we're all able to be here today. We've had some change of plans this morning. Our reader, Reverend Don Kerr, has decided to stay home. He's not feeling really well, so he wants to go get a test and make sure that he's not going to be spreading anything. So that's really good. His daughter, Dawn Lewis, did come down with a positive COVID test last week, and so we've notified all the families with children, and all that's well. So there's some challenges for us, yet there is also a great deal of joy and happiness in our hearts that we are truly able to be here, be part of this celebration, and enjoy one another. So, welcome to Woodland Chapel Center for Spiritual Living, and we're going to move ahead right now with our announcements. Oh, I want to ask first, is anyone here for the very first time? No. Okay, so we're all in good shape. Very good, very good. So, the first announcement's been done. Next week, you have a really distinguished, or would it be extinguished? I'm not sure. Speaker, Reverend Moore Horton. And we'll be talking about the topic about who am I, or why am I here? And we might even ask ourselves the questions, can I see God in me? Oh my goodness, that should be very interesting. Practitioner Donna Stevens will lead a discussion of the book called The Untethered Soul. That's going to begin at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, and Thursday, how did I get that wrong? Thursday, thank you, Donna, for speaking up. Cross out Wednesday and put in Thursday, okay? Thursday at 1 o'clock, oh, goodness sakes. Okay, after our Sunday celebration next week, we plan to host a little bit of a video party, and probably in the library or in here, whichever is warmer. And that will be Reverend Dr. Edward Viljoen's keynote address at the Centers for Spiritual Living annual conference, which was held in Indian Wells, California last week. So that, I think, would be very interesting. It may challenge you. It may challenge some of your ideas about science of mind. And then save the date. I believe it's on February 20th. Hope I got that right, the correct date. We're going to have our annual meeting. And that's a time when you can really participate in the leadership of the church. We'll be electing board members, and we'll be reviewing our mission and plans. Are there any other announcements that might need to be made at this time? Well, that we're here, and we're glad to be here, and welcome one and welcome all. As we begin our Sunday celebration this morning, I keep thinking there's another announcement, but it will come later if it need be. Yes, Mariah. Basically, yes, but I know, Mariah, you were planning to be there, and so the Tuesday night class, you've had a lot of introductory class, so I'd be happy to have you. Okay, I couldn't remember. Okay, yeah, I know you, okay. And yes, the class, there's only 5 lessons, that was what it was. There's only 5 lessons in this class, so to miss one is to miss 20% of it, so we'll have another class later. Thank you for asking, Mariah. And I apologize for my memory. I didn't remember that. Okay, then let's go ahead and do our congregational song, I Release and I Let Go. Yeah. Do you want to stand for this one?
Yes. Please.
Okay, let's do it.
Stand.
Okay. And the words are in the program.
I release, I let go, let that spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let that spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let that Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Beautiful, everyone. Thank you.
Now it is time for our invocation, and our practitioner, Cheryl Ostrander, will lead us in that invocation and in the affirmation.
Good morning. I invite you to join me as I turn within to celebrate this moment and align with that higher self that knows the truth. There is one power, one amazing presence, goes by many names, but it is only one. I know that each person who's chosen to worship here, to celebrate here, is blessed. Whether they're celebrating here from the magic of internet or within these walls. And I know there are blessings on those who've chosen another form of celebration this morning. This meeting of like-minded people, individuals, emanations of the one Spirit, are here to serve. The musicians uplift us with their beautiful message of music, their words and song. Brother Jerry's message inspires each heart in an individual way that reflects out into the world. Those who sit here in these benches in this meeting hall are of service as well. Just the presence of each person blesses the whole. I give great thanks for this moment in time, for this blessing, for these individuals that are here today. And with joy and gratitude in my heart, I release my word into the law, knowing it is done as spoken, and through grace so much more. And together we say, and so it is. And if you'd like to join me with the affirmation, I become what I practice. I practice what I believe. Happiness is mine, as it is for all who practice what they believe. My life is wonder-filled and wonderful, and so it is. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to ask Shannon Preem to come forward and do our reading today. She is pinch hitting, if you will, or pitch hitting, I guess is the right word, pitch hitting for Reverend Don.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Pinch hitting. Our reading today is for this actual day from the Science of Mind text, Science of Mind magazine. It's entitled "Hanging On May Be Hazardous," and it's perfect for if anybody participated in the moment or the prayer this morning, the quiet moment, it is ideally suited for what we're going to hear later. These messages begin with thoughts from people. This first thought comes from Oprah Winfrey. Breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only moment you will know you will have for sure. The next thought comes from Ernest Holmes from the Science of Mind textbook. It is quite a burden lifted when we realize that we do not have to move the world. It is going to move anyway. The message for today is as follows. When we find ourselves filled with anxiety that manifests as a clenched jaw or fist, a rigid neck, or scrunched shoulders, these all are indications that we have an attachment to a condition or person in our lives. Once we observe our reactive behavior, we can take a deep breath and begin the process of letting go. We don't have to give up the intention for what we want, but we do have to be willing to give up how we go about getting it. In surrendering attachment, there is an extraordinary sense of freedom. In that freedom is an abundance of possibilities. Some would call it living in grace. How do we surrender? The practice is to take attention off trying to possess someone or something. Instead, we identify those ideas we want to express in life. In surrendering, we free ourselves from the constant chatter about what isn't working. We are then open to discover other possibilities in store for us. We become aware of our divine self when we let go of the suffering from the past and neediness of the future. Learning to live in the moment keeps us to stay centered in love. When I live in the moment, I allow God's healing power to take charge. If I can take time in the silence, I return to the extraordinary place of peace and harmony. Instead of planning, changing, and fixing, I allow myself to just be. In those still, small, quiet moments, inspiration sneaks in and whispers its plans for us. There are amazing experiences waiting for us if we can let go enough to experience them. Let go and let God guide you to your greater good. And these messages end with an affirmation. I am open to unlimited opportunities, showing up with ease and grace, for so it is. Thank you.
Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here. And I'm feeling life so clearly now. So get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you, Blaine. We're getting ready. We're getting ready for a great message here this morning. I've known our good friend and Dharma teacher, Jerry Braza, for quite a number of years, over 20 now. And I just know the message he brings to us is a message that comes from his heart, a message that is going to lift our spirits. And you know, Jerry has an extraordinary background. He was ordained as a teacher, Dharma teacher, by Thich Nhat Hanh personally in 2001. He holds a PhD, a doctorate from the University of Utah, and I think at least part of it was in psychology. I don't remember the other part. What was Health and psychology. And Jerry taught at Western Oregon University for a number of years, and is retired from that now, and devotes his life to, I think, expanding this message that comes through Thich Nhat Hanh and others and through himself about the mindfulness part of life. I was really looking here at a quote that I read. I think it was originally in the first copy of The Seeds of Love. And it says, from Thich Nhat Hanh, I hope you will return to it again and again and practice wholeheartedly the exercises Dr. Braza offers. Please join me in welcoming this author of several books, including Practicing Mindfulness, Jerry Braza. We're doing a special recording.
Morning, dear friends. Am I loud enough? I was purposely speaking quietly during the guided meditation, so I will make sure you can hear me. That tends to be my normal voice of giving a talk. We call it a Dharma talk. I'm so grateful to be here. And as Reverend Moore said, we've known each other for over 20 years. Reverend Don as well, and your community. I feel blessed to be returning. Today, as you so skillfully developed, there's a present moment program here. The Blaine and Annie songs had a lot of present moment in it. The affirmation, the reading, a lot of present moment ideology, which I'm so glad that you incorporate here in your practice. So Thich Nhat Hanh was born in 1926. He died 8 days ago on January 22nd, 95. I just finished a week of ceremonies, regionally, internationally, along with numerous calls and interviews regarding, from my publisher regarding the fact that Ty was so grateful to honor these books and wrote the foreword. Never did I realize how significant that was. I did at the time. It seems to be more alive today to have a teacher support one's words, a teacher of his caliber. On Friday afternoon, we watched a 5-hour cremation ceremony. Never saw so many moved by his teachings around the world. Over and over again, I was trying to figure out, and I heard these same words from multiple number of people, what they said about him. He touched something deep in me. Another dimension, possibly, the ultimate, God, the divine. He seemed to be just talking to me. Do you ever go to a sermon or a lecture and you said, oh, she's talking to me. He's talking to me. He helped me transform suffering. Not only talking about myself, I'm talking about multiple people. And the idea here is we're hoping that we can transform some of the suffering in our own personal life. He taught so we could all understand his message. And his message was clear, and I know here it's the message at the Woodland Chapel, love. And understanding is a password for love. He often would say, if you don't understand, you can't love. So that is enough. I could end right there. Understanding is love. He taught that the practices should be immediately available in the here and now. I'll give you an example. He calls them gathas. You might call them, mantras, phrases that we say to train our mind. But here's one. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I am solid. I am free. In the ultimate, I dwell. Now, if you really listen to those words, isn't life a process of arriving? Isn't life a process of coming home to yourself? A process of living in the here and now, of being solid, like some of the trees we know well in Oregon. And being free means I'm not caught on the past or the future. I'm truly here. I am present. I'm solid. I am free. And in the ultimate I dwell. Well, we practice all of that. Like the mystics of all traditions, they were all interested in connecting with the divine, ultimate, God, whatever you want to call him, her, whatever the pronouns are today. but it is that connection, that way of connecting with something more than ourselves. I have a little joke with my wife. When I was gone every day and I'd come home about the same time, I'd open the garage door and I'd yell out, "I am home." And Kathleen would say, "Are you in the here and now?" And then sometimes if she really wanted to overdo it, she'd say, "Are you solid? Did you let go of the past and the future so we can be together?" I'm not worried about the ultimate. I just want to be with you today. Did you let go of your job? Did you let go of your work? It became so funny. So my personal connection with Ty began as a university professor when I was pursuing mental health. And I came across in the 80s a book called The Miracle of Mindfulness by Thich Nhat Hanh, one of the first books that really became popular. It became a guideline for me, a way to live my life in the present moment. And I discovered that I want to learn more about this. So I attended a retreat that he was conducting at the Omega Institute in New York. And at that retreat, he was, of course, the teacher. And I happened to be sitting, let's pretend there are big windows along this wall here, and I was looking, and I was sitting right by the window, and I could see before it began, he was walking across the field very mindfully. So slow, I never saw anybody walk that slow to come in and give his Dharma talk. And at that moment I said, wow, he is truly being mindful. He is my teacher. I made that declaration to myself. Now you have to understand, before then, I was considered to be a type A person. I was always in a hurry. You don't have to categorize yourself, but maybe some of you know what that's like. I wasn't really present as much as I should be for my son or my daughter. This morning I talked to my daughter who just celebrated her 50th birthday. She lives out of the country, and we were talking a little bit. And she says, "Oh, I'm so sorry about Ty dying." Ty is Vietnamese for teacher, so I'll be referring to Thich Nhat Hanh as Ty. And she said, "You know, Dad, I'm so happy you met him because he changed you." I said, "How was that?" "Well, he used to rush through stories, and after you started to hear Ty, you would listen, and you would be more with her brother, Mark, and my daughter, Andrea. And after I'd come home from a retreat, they would notice there's something different. Did you ever go to a conference or a retreat and somebody that you live with says, "Wow, what happened to you?" It wasn't what you were wearing. It was how you were as a person. So for 35 years, I had the opportunity to follow Thich Nhat Hanh to retreats around the world, partly because of my university work and research. I had grants and things to pay for it. I really couldn't afford it at the time, but we went to all different parts of monasteries in the U.S., and then pilgrimages to India, China, and Vietnam. Through all these teachings, there was a thread. The thread was, it's not enough to know something. It's more important, or we can say, I can declare, I know mindfulness. That's not enough. He would always say, you have to realize it. More than knowing is realize. I noticed in your affirmation prayer this morning, I would keep changing this. It was said, I become what I practice. Or as Gandhi said, my life is my message. Now, I can't always say that my life is always that message, but that is my greatest aspiration, as I'm sure it is for you. So here are some core realizations that Thich Nhat Hanh, I believe, incorporated. He lived, not in just the way he walked, but the way he was as a person. So I will share briefly these realizations, key points. One was seeds. Seeds. Now what? Seeds? What are you talking about, seeds? You know, like we have in the garden? Well, we have also mental seeds. What we nurture is what we become. Best example I can give, if I watch a lot of news or listen to news, regardless of what channel, I will become that message. Or if I start my day with Lectio Divina, which is sacred reading, and I find other opportunities during the day, I water the seeds of those readings. I transform my consciousness at a different level. And he always talked about the core seeds of love, and that would be a separate talk for this group. But for me, they have been transformative. When I say I love somebody, it's not enough. Words are not enough. Show me. What's the realization behind this? And the realization is loving kindness means I try to understand you, know your song, and sing it when you forget. Joy is, if I cultivate joy in me, I will bring joy to you and every other person I meet. The other seeds are compassion. Compassion is really a part of love. If I'm compassionate, I can be with my own suffering and with your suffering. Calm passion means with suffering. And finally, equanimity. I can live with the waves. Not too high, not too low, but smooth, because we will have our ups and downs. This is not a new idea. The Buddha talked about seeds. And now we know from the research on neuroplasticity of the brain, the longer we linger on any of these seeds, the more we change our neural pathways. That's another whole area that I think it's worthy of study. When I was ordained as a Dharma teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh always would give a lamp to their students. And this lamp transmission to me, he said, water the seeds of love. So that became a powerful affirmation, as you might imagine, coming from one's teacher. And that has been my avocation and aspiration during my life. Another core seed is mindfulness. Mindfulness. Mindfulness means to remember. That simple definition is enough. When you're scattered, ask yourself, where am I? Remember who you're with, what you're doing. To remember that. Moments make up the fabric of our lives. I started, before mindfulness, I was interested in the work of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. You may have heard her. She was the death and dying specialist. She died 15 years ago now. Beautiful person. But she said in talking to hundreds, thousands of dying people over her life, she said at the end of life, what counted most were moments with loved ones, not how much they made, where they lived, what they had. Not about possessions, yet about moments. So when I think about moments, I think, at that time I said, how do I create moments that are deeper? Well, mindfulness seemed to be the ticket for me, and that was to come back to the reality of each moment. Because we don't experience a moment because we're someone else. We're thinking about someone else, or we're doing something else in our mind, yet we're with the most important person in our life, possibly. It could be our son, our daughter, our friend. I learned that my middle name is Francis. I didn't like that very much when I was a boy growing up. Everybody said, what does F stand for? I said, Frank. Well, it's Francis de Sales, and Francis de Sales was a mystic. Francis de Sales was an incredible person, and one of his prayers was, one of his affirmations was, if you have to come back 1,000 times a day or 500 times a day, just keep coming back. If you lose yourself in prayer or in meditation, just keep coming back. It's normal. Everyone gets lost. So over the years, I became more curious. I partially converted to Buddhism as a path, yet now have gone back to my Christian roots because I've been interested in the mystics, and I found that Buddhism has been the perfect lens. And now I find a lot of people practice what is called double belonging, which Thich advocated. He said, don't become a Buddhist. And that sold me right there. Because, all the gurus said, come join me, join my group. But he said, no, don't. Go back to your root. Go back to your root religion. Practice that. And now, with Buddhism, I can practice both, and I feel completely at home. Double belonging. Another realization that Thich experienced was true dialogue. We might call it loving speech. The language of peacemakers, definitely needed in our era, in this world today. These were the kind of people like Thomas Merton, Martin Luther King, the Dalai Lama, Daniel Berrigan, and other luminaries in the 60s and 70s, who Thich connected with. And he was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize by Martin Luther King to tell you what a deep connection they had. Thich taught us to be present and to listen deeply to others. He said, never take sides. Listen to both sides. Rumi, my favorite quote, we have a sign, picture in our house. It says, beyond right or wrong, there's a field. I'll meet you there. Isn't that beautiful? I'll meet you there. That's what Thich believed. He believed in meeting people in the middle. Wow, we could use that today at all levels, whether it be in our families, our neighborhoods, our government, or wherever that may be. We need to connect and make those kind of connections in our life. The fourth realization of Thich, this is my perception of realizations. You could probably have 50 realizations, but these are the ones that influenced me the most, and a lot of people I know, is that of interbeing. It's a word that he really is famous for creating. We are connected with everything else. This brown robe that I'm wearing is given to members of the Order of Interbeing. The Order of Interbeing started in Vietnam by Thich Nhat Hanh and Sister Chong Kong, his support person in the community during the war, because he felt social workers were getting burned out and they needed to take 1 day of mindfulness a week. How about that for the Sabbath? We just call it a day of mindfulness. We don't even get close to Sabbath in our country. But a day of mindfulness has been a good thing, and whenever I practice that, I know it's very helpful. Well, there's about 3,000 Order of Interbeing members now in the world, and they are practicing this idea of connection. And interbeing became foundational, especially in the next realization, and that realization is called engaged practice. Engaged. It has nothing to do with getting married or anything like that. Engaged practice means it's not enough to meditate, to sit on a cushion. Yet the most important thing we need to do is look around us, see the suffering of the world. I remember Mother Teresa always used to say, you don't have to go to India to see it. Just look across the street. Look in your own neighborhood. Look at the homeless camp 100 yards from here or wherever. I remember homeless people coming into our Sangha at night, Reverend Moore. Maybe I've told you some of these stories. And the community invited them in. They sat with us. And one time they took up a collection and gave the person $200 when they left. The person gave the most beautiful Dharma talk about how they were suffering. So when a group like your community has an open heart, everyone's invited. The doors are open. Engage practice. We engage first in ourselves. Thich Nhat Hanh would always say, peace activists have it wrong. They need to be peaceful themselves. They were modeling violence when they were demonstrating. And if we're not peaceful, how can we expect the people around us to be peaceful? So I have, through the Thich Nhat Hanh community, been involved in war, hunger, climate change, racial inequalities. And underlying all those inequalities is what our country has as a problem right now. The most major problem is the idea that there's a dual consciousness, us versus them. And Thich Nhat Hanh would always say, we have to create a non-dual mind. A non-dual mind means we are all connected. We are not a separate self. If I think I'm separate as a person or as a country or as any group, we will continue to create more division, and that division is great enough. Yet we can start locally with ourselves by learning about different groups. Today's Thich Nhat Hanh community is different than when I started in it. There's a great emphasis on the BIPOC and LGBTQ communities, and we are learning how to understand people that are different, and also in certain areas where there's a different, more heterogeneous population, there's an infusion into communities like Thich Nhat Hanh offers, because people want to find a home. They need a refuge. We all need a refuge, as you found this refuge here at the River Sangha. Thai's form of Buddhism helps us to look deeply at the roots of prejudice. And I always remember something, that prejudice is a distancing phenomena. Anytime prejudice is a distancing phenomena. Thank you. I will still stay closer to the microphone. Another realization is take refuge in the Sangha. This is the work. The Sangha is a group. You are a Sangha, but you would call yourself a church community, I believe. You know, in Christianity, we would have Jesus is the awakened one. We would have, that would be our Buddha. Awakened beings. Could be anybody. Jesus, other awakened individuals. In Christian community, there's the Gospels, and you have your own form of beliefs through the writings of your ancestor teachers. And then finally, we have the Sangha, and that is the same as a church community. When Thich Nhat Hanh met Martin Luther King, they coined the word beloved community. A book just was published, came out a month ago, called Brothers, Martin Luther King and Thich Nhat Hanh. And I love it because it talks about what a beloved community is like. And when we create beloved communities, we are creating what is needed to break down these dualities, break down these prejudices which continue in our society. So Sangha is the work of community building, or all churches, all groups are building a community. Wow, what a nice turnout this morning. Thank you for showing up. You are a community. You can't do it by yourself. I used to think I could meditate by myself. You need the energy of each other because you are. And with that energy, you realize that other people are suffering. And you realize that you can help each other help yourself transform that suffering. So when Thich was asked, who will take your place after you die? He said, it is clear, the Sangha. And that is true. Not the case in all Buddhist traditions. Buddhist traditions are like Christian or other groups. They have many different forms. In Thich Nhat Hanh style, the whole idea, there is no continuation error. There's no other teacher that's going to be the next Thich Nhat Hanh. In Tibetan Buddhism, there will be a Dalai Lama, there will be somebody to follow in the Dalai Lama's footsteps when he dies. But in this tradition, it's the Sangha. And after watching all those ceremonies, including the cremation and other ceremonies this past week, I am clear. I feel so good, so embraced that we have a very strong Sangha around the world of young monks and nuns. With my Catholic roots, I go to the Trappist Abbey. I was there last week. And I love that tradition. I fell in love again with the teachings of Thomas Merton. We have days of mindfulness we're starting to do at the Trappist Abbey. Yet when I looked at the monks, the average age is 70. When I looked at the monastics in the international community, I'd say the average age was closer to 40. And hundreds of young women and men, monks and nuns who are practicing, who are the continuation of Thich. As well as lay Dharma teachers who also have been ordained to support his continuation. So, beloved communities is the essence, and that's what you're doing here. It's a home where people can continue. And finally, the last realization that I'll share, because of time, is continuation, the word continuation. It's ironic that at the last retreat that Thich taught in person was in 2014 at Plum Village, and a couple months later he had a major stroke, and he hasn't been able to speak during the last 8 years of his life. In a Q&A that was asked of him in 2014, they said, "What will happen after you die?" He said, "I won't die. I will continue in your breathing and in your walking." And I noticed that. The way Thich was walking, all the monastics walk in that same way. Slow, mindfully. I'm learning to do this with my dog. I still have type A tendencies, but to walk mindfully and slow. It may not give you the aerobic activity that you need, yet it's beautiful. And he went on to say, I will continue your breathing and your walking. I will continue to be. But you have to be careful to see me. I will be in a flower or in a leaf. I will be in those forms and send you a greeting. If you are aware enough, you will recognize me, and I will be smiling with you. I will be very happy about it. So this message of continuation has already been living out for a few years now of Thich's continuation. And I thought, well, how do I ensure? I'm sure we all want to ensure our own continuation, right? What you want to be remembered. Well, we have, and now I understand why we recite, and this is recited at monasteries around the world. They're called the 5 remembrances. And the one remembrance is, I am the nature to get sick. I'm the nature to get old. I'm the nature to die. And everybody around me is of that same nature. The only remembrance we can control is our actions are our only true belonging. Our actions are what others will remember. Ty's actions are what the world is remembering now. What will they remember about us? What kind of actions are we taking in our life? What kind of continuation are we creating? So I began with gratitude, and I said, I'm so grateful to be here, and I really feel it right now. I remember when we were in China with Thich Nhat Hanh, the origin of his teachings began in China before those teachings went to Vietnam. And we visit what are called today Chan temples. And we were visiting all these temples, and Thai heard that some of the Westerners were complaining that the bathroom facilities weren't good enough, to be blunt. And they weren't, according to our standards. So Thai picked up on that, and he said in his Dharma talk, when you're not grateful, you're suffering. And I said, how true that is. When I'm not grateful, I'm suffering. And one of Thai's good friends was somebody you may know. His name was Brother David Stendal Rast. He was called the father of gratitude. And Thich Nhat Hanh and him were friends. David Stendal Rast is still alive. You may want to watch a good YouTube of them talking together. And they would send little clever notes. And it really wouldn't be a note. One would etch their hand print on a piece of paper and just send it off in the post. I am with you. And I thought that was good. I did that with a few friends, and we laughed because they knew that message. Bows of gratitude for Woodland Chapel. You have supported us. And we had a Sangha here for over 20 years, 22 years, 20 years. We will return. We are planning to return when the conditions are right. Because everyone needs a refuge. We need a place we can call home. And finally, Thai would say, take refuge in your breath. Take refuge in your breath, and take refuge in your out breath. Take refuge in your steps. The Buddha may be an abstract idea, but your breath is a reality. Your steps are a reality. You are looking for the Buddha. You are looking for the Dharma. You are not truly taking refuge in them because you have not found them. Your refuge can be in a breath, in a step, because when you do that, you're coming home. Remember that piece? I have arrived, I am home in the Woodland Chapel today. I am solid, I am free. I am solid, I am free. In the ultimate I dwell. I'm so grateful to be back. Thank you. Since I won't be hugging you, I want to teach you one thing, butterfly hug. Butterfly hug is used by a friend of mine. She goes around the world. Her name's Ann Martin. She goes around the world helping children and counselors who have been traumatized, and she helps them to come back to this place of refuge. There's some science behind this. No time for that right now. But I send you from the bottom of my heart a butterfly hug of peace and love. Thank you. I have a gift for Reverend Moore here.
I love gifts. What do you give me?
This is
Oh my goodness! The
this is-
newest book.
this is a book. book called Practicing Mindfulness, and Reverend Moore, you can keep that for the library or do whatever you want with it, but I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you, friends.
Okay, we want to turn this on.
Oh, yeah. I'll get it. I'll just take it.
This is a song called Hands by Jewel, and I just feel it continues to be relevant today. If I could feel the world just one thing, it would be that we're okay. And not to worry, 'cause worry is useless and wastes away times like these. I'll be amazed, I won't be on with despair. I'll get myself to run my faith, where light is the darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am poverty's too close, it is to me after. And hurricane has risen me, but I knew it wasn't ever after. I will fight, not out of spite, for someone would stand on for what's right. Where's the man who has no voice? There I am, shadows singing. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. In the end, only kindness matters. In the end, only kindness matters. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. I will get down on my knees and I will pray. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And they're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. They're not yours, they are my own. And I am never broken. We are never broken. We are never broken.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Blaine. Wonderful. We're never broken in spirit and in truth. There's something within us that is always ready to manifest itself with joy and love. Wasn't that a great talk today? Did you enjoy Jerry Braza? Yes? Absolutely. Absolutely. That was a gift, wasn't it? It was a gift from his heart to our hearts. And it's so wonderfully joyful to be able to receive that gift and acknowledge it. And you know, life itself, as we've often said, is a gift. It's a gift of awareness. It's a gift of being who you are. It's a gift of being a dynamic, active presence in life. It's so good. Life is so good. And one of the beautiful things about life is that we can share it. We can share it with one another in the Sangha, as Reverend as Brother Jerry said, or the church, or the center, however you want to think of it. We share that. And so as you give your gifts this morning, please know that we know that you're giving from your heart, that you're giving from that sense of goodness that dwells inside of you. And so we just really treasure this opportunity to share. And let us say our affirmation for our offering is printed in the program. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. Mariah and Darwin?
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen.
From the inmost depths of our hearts, the Amen resonates. It resonates in the truth of our being. It resonates in the glorious examples of our teachers throughout the ages. It resonates in this wonderful chapel, this woodland chapel, this center for spiritual living. I know this. I believe this. I accept it, for it is the truth. And let us say together, and so it is. Okay, where did I go? I had it here somewhere. Well, our next progress here is to turn to our prayer of affirmation. Is everybody ready to read that? Right. There you go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God
Watches over us.
wherever we are. God is, and all is well. Let's stand and sing, "Let There Be Peace on Earth."
Peace on earth, the peace that was
space. Brother Jerry has agreed to stay and take some questions if you'd like to stay and visit, or if you'd like to just go out. And I'll lead the way out so you